Hello there, and welcome to this expert discussion brought to you by the Visibility, Impact, and Profit Giveaway, where top experts share what's working now to build a successful coaching empire with a global reach that makes a massive impact. I am your host, Stephanie Treasure, and creator of this dynamic event. We have brought together a special panel of experts who have joined forces with me to share resources, give access to their paid programs, and their valuable insights on what it takes to build and grow your successful coaching empire. At the heart of it, we, as a collective force of visionary business owners and entrepreneurs, truly want to make an impact and a difference in people's lives. And it's my belief that the more visibility that you attain, the more people you'll be able to reach with your products, your services, and your gifts. And the more profitable your business becomes, the more potential it has for growth. So we are on mission to showing you how you can become more visible, make a bigger impact, and profit through this event. And today I am excited to welcome my friend and colleague, Krista Martin, who is one of our main event sponsors that made this event possible for you today. Hey there, Krista. Welcome to this discussion.
Hi, Stephanie. Always so great to speak with you and to collaborate in any and every way.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm excited for what you're bringing to the table. I know that you and your team are doing great work. I want to talk about some of the inside scoop in terms of what you're teaching your clients and how that can help the persons who are joining this giveaway. But let me first just share with persons so that they can truly appreciate the background on what you're bringing to the table. I want to share a little bit more about you and the work that you're doing. All right. So Krista is the president and founder of Make Your Mark. As a sought after speaker and business mentor, she teaches coaches how to build a sustainable, multiple six-figure coaching business and create a bigger impact. She's the founder of the Six Figure Impact Academy and takes a stand for helping her clients build six-figure businesses. The reach, impact, and personal transformation that her clients achieve through this process is what makes this level of success so important. Spending more than 12 years in the corporate world, she has extensive business, marketing, and sales experience. She was consistently recognized as one of the top salespersons in the country and exceeded her sales quotas 7 years in a row. She built and sold her first side business and now enjoys helping her clients build their business so it fits into their life instead of the other way around.
Yeah.
Krista has been a featured speaker at numerous ICF, that's the International Coach Federation events, including the ICF Global and Regional Conferences. Her passions include supporting homeless animals and shelters with the goal of helping every pet live in a happy and healthy home. So welcome again, Krista. It's so good to be speaking to you today.
Oh, thank you so much, Stephanie. And I appreciate that background and everything too. So very excited to be here.
Awesome. So let's start with having you tell us, kind of keeping it more current, in this season, especially we're in this funny phase right now where COVID-19 is still with us,
Mhm.
and we've learned how to cope, how to live, how to adapt. As business owners, we've done some pivoting as it relates to how we're doing things in this current climate. But I'd love to hear a little bit more about the work that you're doing with clients currently.
Absolutely. And so, really what we're doing right now is I feel like just a version of what we're always doing, meaning optimizing, kind of pivoting and figuring out what works best for each person and also the current environment that we're in. With COVID, obviously, bringing a whole slew of new adventures that we didn't anticipate. But really what we're working on now is with the coaches to grow their business is really building, always looking at what I call the high visibility activities that they can do to grow their business. And I know visibility is a very important word. And what I mean by that is looking at how we can speak or get in front of, I call it OPAs, other people's audiences. For example, like what we're doing with this, is an opportunity to share resources with other people's audiences and doing that in a way that feels good. They're creating value and also then, building their audience and really being able to grow and not only find clients, but the clients are raising their hand to say, hey, I want to know more about, what you're working on, or that sounds like, something that would be a fit for me. So really still focusing on, whether it's speaking in person or virtual, that's hugely valuable too. And one of my favorite things to focus on as well.
Yeah, I totally hear you on that. And I know that you've done quite a bit of in-person speaking. I definitely have seen you on real stages, not at the events, but I definitely see that you have done, worked the circuit
Yeah.
in terms of really getting out there in front of these wide audiences. How has it changed in terms of, or how has your methods changed, or how you're working with clients to help them to get more visible in terms of getting them to take advantage of more virtual engagements versus the
Yeah.
in-person, which I know is a big part of what you teach because it
Yeah.
is so powerful. But how have you and your team pivoted in how you're helping your audience to still speak, still gain visibility in those dynamic ways, but given the fact that not everybody is willing to or wanting to travel and do in-person speaking engagements.
Yes. Well, and we've actually seen with some of the in-person speaking engagements, it's almost like people have been in a cage or trapped for 2 or 3 years, and they're so excited to get out. It's literally like everybody's just hugging each other and they don't know each other. So meaning that it can be, a fit for certain people that are really excited to get out. So there is lots of value and opportunity there. And in the virtual space, one of the cool things that COVID did was, I believe it opened up a whole new avenue to be able to reach your ideal client through, whether you're hosting your own events. I've done half day workshops, I've done, 7 or 9 day, online challenges. I've done, even one of the things we work with clients too is what I call a round table, where you're gathering an intimate group of people, you're facilitating a conversation, teaching content. So it doesn't have to be a huge group. And then you're positioned as the authority and the person that can support them with, if you gathered, a group of your ideal clients, you're the go-to person and you can offer to have a conversation with you if someone in the group is interested. But really making sure that we're really almost every single thing that was done offline can be done online, which is crazy and good, and also kind of mind blowing in the way too. We hosted a 3 day virtual event. I guess it was maybe about a year ago, and that was a wild experience too. All the cameras and everything that to make that happen, but it's really been, to me, even easier to reach your ideal client because that way you don't have to travel to, Texas, for example, if you don't live in Texas, but you can reach the awesome people in Texas, and so one of the strategies that I really believe in too is looking for, who's gathering your ideal client as far as associations or groups. And a lot of times those associations or groups are national, or even international. So you could, do a presentation for, again, I'll say Texas, just because for some reason Texas is on my mind this morning, but you could be able to do a presentation for the people in Texas as well as in Florida, or New York or wherever the places are, without even needing to leave your house as well. So I guess the long answer to your short question is that it's still hugely valuable. And it's just really, again, kind of stretching your brain to think. So many times we think, oh, you can't do that virtually, but everything I really have seen modeled in some fashion as available online as well. Did that
Yeah,
kind of
it's
answer your
amazing.
question? I know I can get on a soapbox about speaking, so I want to make sure I followed where you were wanting me to go.
No, perfect, because I really wanted you to highlight the fact that it's really possible to keep using speaking. If you're aiming to use speaking as a way to get more visible and get in front of more of your ideal clients, it's completely possible, even if you are having, you've made your own personal restrictions around traveling, or even if you're not, because, people are now doing more in-person events. But you can utilize the technology is really the point to speak more so that you can be highly visible and seen as an expert, which I believe is one of the top ways to attract your ideal clients.
Oh,
And I've
absolutely.
really seen the technology utilized, as you mentioned, in very, very creative ways. Many of the event planners who are adept at in-person speaking events they know how to, or they've managed with their teams to pivot and use the technology to create that in-person event feeling, even doing it, even when you're hosting that event virtually. So, and I've seen quite a few persons utilize that, and it's amazing what you can accomplish with the technology.
Yes, it really is. And there's so many cool tools and gadgets and even games. We had a group of our clients get together, I guess it was a year ago, and we actually had a game facilitated virtually, and it was so fun, and everybody was laughing, and it felt kind of that energy of being in person that I think we can sometimes feel like is missing from virtual. But there's absolutely ways to inject, any kind of energy or game or whatever, and so many creative people that are coming up with ideas every day to make it more fun.
Right, right. And I guess it helps too to take the edge off of persons, kind of getting burned out from sitting in front of Zoom meetings and just,
Yeah.
sitting and consuming content. If you can make it as interactive as it would be is in an in-person conference
Yeah.
by incorporating these little games, then it makes it more fun, more dynamic.
Oh, definitely. And people are laughing and it just kind of takes away that pressure to have it be perfect or like just you one way, but absolutely still having the conversation, and making it two-way is so, so valuable.
Very nice.
Right.
So I want to ask you, what is one key way that you keep the impact that your business is making at the forefront of what you do, and how do you encourage your clients to do the same?
Yes. This is a $1 million question that I love, love, love. And I know one of the reasons you and I connect so well is really both of us are passionate about, the more successful your business is, the more impact that you get to create. In fact, I'll remind clients a lot, the more income that comes in, the more impact. It's like a direct line if that's what you want to create. And so for me, as you know, one of my biggest impacts that I want to create or I am creating is helping homeless animals. And one of my goals is that we have homeless animal shelters shutting down because we no longer need them. And, so what I encourage clients, I talk about that a lot. And I talk about what I call your 6-figure impact, which is this kind of bigger than you impact that calls you forward. And when we get clear on what that impact is, one, it challenges to go beyond us to go beyond what it takes just to meet our needs, with growing our business. But it also energizes us, and we see that it's not about you, it's not about me, it's not about Stephanie, it's about that impact coming to life that I believe doesn't happen if I'm not out there doing my work and challenging myself, getting uncomfortable, growing the business. I'm not able to create as big of an impact as if I do step into those pieces. So one of the things that we work on is I love 90-day plans. So with our clients, we're building 90-day plans, and I encourage everybody to have an impact related goal as part of their 90-day plan. It doesn't have to be that they're closing down all the animal shelters, in one quarter. It could be if that's, possible for them. But what I would say is even starting small. When I first started my business, I noticed I felt really out of congruence because I was saying I wanted to help homeless animals, and yet I was still building my business in a big way. So I didn't have, just I wasn't, how people will think that you just have money coming out your eyeballs and all this good stuff. Still very much in the build phase. And I felt out of congruent because I was talking about I want to help animals, and I knew that future version of me was helping animals in a huge way. And so I asked myself, what's an easy way, what's a small way I can get started today? And the idea that came up for me, which was $25 a month to donate to a local animal charity. It wasn't humongous, no, but it was action in alignment with my beliefs and with my values and what's important. And it shifted everything because all of a sudden I was walking my talk versus saying one thing and doing something else. And we encourage people to, get clear on or work on getting clear, what passion or what, one of the ways we work on getting clear about our 6-figure impact is to imagine that I gave you $1 billion through Zoom today, and you couldn't spend a penny on yourself or a penny on your family. They're all taken care of. What would you do or build? Like, where would you send that money? Because you have to send it somewhere. And you'll start to get ideas of, oh, I'd support this cause, or this is important to me, or I want to build this. This doesn't exist yet. those are ideas and clues in the direction to start moving. And so then knowing, maybe you want to help, homeless families. That's an awesome, amazing place. Let's start there. How can you donate time, money, energy in that direction? It could even be you're on the board. It doesn't have to be money. You could donate creativity. So making that part of our 90-day goal so that at the end of the year, we can even see, yes, I made a meaningful impact towards that cause that's important to me. And I believe your impact that's on your heart, Stephanie, and on my heart, and everybody else's is different. And that's perfect because together, and I know this is going to sound kind of cliche, but I really believe that, as coaches, we can change the world. And if I follow my calling for my 6-figure impact, you follow yours, and everybody follows theirs. I mean, this world could be transformed, in minutes if we were all doing that. So definitely keeping it up front, and then there's nothing too small. I encourage everybody to get started right now with, thinking, how do I donate time, money, energy, creativity towards that cause today so that, there's an impact I can measure at the end of the year.
Yeah, I love that, right? It really doesn't have to be, as even though you're saying, what is your 6-figure impact, right? I know you're using that to say, as you're aspiring to get to 6 figures, if you're not there yet, what would be the impact that you're making once you're there? But it's good that you have persons think in that sense. But even now, if you're not there as yet, you can do something to give back. And as you said, it could be giving off your time, or it could be just, I know you mentioned that at first it was just a matter of $25 a month, right? Just to see that you're giving something from what you're making towards a cause that really helps to make a difference in the world. And then as you grow, as your business grows, then you can make it even more, or you can adopt another cause and say, okay, I'm going to put 25 here, I'm going to put 25 over there.
Totally.
But yeah, really thinking about something other than yourself and doing your part. Like you said, coaches, we can change the world. And you just have to do, even if you do a little, right, do what is in your power to do, however small that is. If other persons are doing the same, collectively, we can truly, truly make a difference.
Yes. And Stephanie, one of my clients has a passion for young mothers, and she brings on several clients. She has 3 partial scholarship spots. I know we were kind of speaking about this earlier too, and that she does each year, where she brings on people in that capacity, because that's really important to her to be able to support those people. And the partial scholarship is essentially, where she'll ask them what they can do that's a stretch but is doable for them. And then the other part is the scholarship. And I really think that's a beautiful way too, that a lot of times it's within, people's own businesses or the people they're seeing on a regular basis. And they say, this is someone I could help that maybe wouldn't otherwise be able to work together right now because of finances. So I'm going to make it possible. And her face, I mean, that's the most awesome thing, just beams and lights up when she's talking about these women that she gets to help. So it's very, very cool thing.
Yeah, right. So there's different ways, right? So she's giving up her time to persons who, would not otherwise be able to afford her services, but it's a way that she can help them, right? Meeting them at their point of need.
Yes, absolutely. So
love that.
It's cool. And then to see the smile on the giver's face is so awesome too, because it feels good to us to be able to create that impact, whatever it is. And to be able to help people. It's just a really cool thing.
Yeah, very, very cool. Great. So what is a key lesson that you can share as we're talking about, we talk about visibility, we spoke about impact. I want to talk a little bit about profitability. So I want to ask you, what is a key lesson that you can share around getting to profitability and making it sustainable? How do you have this conversation with your clients?
Yes, and it really is. I know when I first started, I was not profitable, meaning the accountant said, all right, if we have a couple more years, in the black or red or whatever the color is, she was like, this is going to be, a flag for the IRS. But so getting clear, what does it look like to to be profitable in your business. What are your expenses? What are your, costs of doing business? And then really being in integrity with what that investment level is for your offers. And then, as you continue growing, knowing that profitability for me, at least, didn't happen right away. It was, I think about it similar to like someone building or opening a yoga studio. They have to rent the place. They have to get the equipment. They have to hire the people. So at first, it may not be profitable in that initial moment. But as you move to that sustainability piece, some of the lessons we learned this last year is really noticing when you're in hyper growth mode, how long have you been in hyper growth mode and how long do you want to stay in hyper growth mode? Because it's easier almost, in my experience, to stay in that hyper growth mode and keep going. And you and I were speaking about this, right before we jumped on, but be in that up trajectory, which absolutely isn't sustainable. It's not healthy. It's a wonderful experience when you first start. And I think we can get addicted to the feeling, the adrenaline of growth. Everybody's wanting growth. And there's a cost to everything we do. So there's a cost to that growth. So what we were talking about earlier is really the instead of being that straight line up, the value of recognizing we can grow up, we can have exponential growth, and then giving ourselves permission to have a slight plateau or slight pause so we can recalibrate our system, so we can recalibrate our team. Maybe we have shifted and we want to work 4 days instead of 5 days a week. Whatever, give ourselves that space to recalibrate versus just going up, where we're literally just always, okay, more duct tape, what's leaking, more duct tape, and the duct tape eventually busts. So that way you can still grow as quick as you want, but you're building in and expecting those plateaus and also looking forward to the plateaus and not judging plateaus as bad. I had in my head, I realized, wow, I was just competing with everybody else to keep up with who can grow fastest. And, and then it was not in alignment. I lost track of what was the most important to me and what my values were and why my goals were my goals, so coming back to that piece. And the other piece of that too, Stephanie, and I know we were speaking about a lot of this, was this last year, almost a whole year, I've been in this phase of what I'm lovingly calling creative destruction. Because as we build our business, hit 6 figures, past 6 figures, we start bringing on little bit of non-ideal clients, or we can, that's something that we experienced. And then we say, okay, this person's not quite ideal, but they need this thing. So I'll build this thing. I'll overserve, in this direction. And then our business becomes bloated. We can fall out of love with our business because we're not doing the things that we love that we started out with. So really pulling back to what is a minimum viable program or access or training that my clients need, because I believe our ego drives us to say, well, they may not need this thing about sales, but I know this thing about sales, so I'm going to create a module about sales, this thing, and so really refocusing on what is the core drivers of the business, what are the core drivers for you for joy, and then permission to release a lot of the things that you might have collected along the way in that relentless, up kind of mindset that can have us bring on. And the only word, I need a better word than bloated, but that's the only word that comes to mind, that we can de-bloat, I guess, would be, and get back into, okay, we're doing this to have fun. We're doing this to enjoy life, not to kill ourselves in the process.
Right. Really staying focused on the core, the core delivery, what are the core things that you need in your delivery, and not trying to please everyone and, bring everyone into your programs that honestly, at the end of the day, you know when it's not in alignment, and who may not be in alignment in the way that you teach. And you can make that decision very early on and just, really be firm that, okay, this probably isn't the program for you, and you can recommend other resources and have that person go another direction, as opposed to saying, oh no, come on in, and trying to
yes
for that person.
And many times coaches could help anybody, you're a good coach, you could help someone at this stage of their business or that stage, but is it really your genius zone? Is it really your sweet spot? And if it's not, being okay with that, there's more than enough ideal people that are ready, and that person might be ready in 3 months, or whatever too.
Yeah. And getting back to the sustainability, one of the things, the ways that I was describing it, that really made me picture it in terms of really getting to understand what you meant, was that if you are a point where you're trying, you know, as a driver, you're trying to get to a point where you're able to drive at 60 miles per hour, you're aiming to get from 0 to 60. And when you do, once you do get to 60, you need to kind of stay there and kind of have a, you know, feel for how it is to drive at this speed before you say, okay, now I'm ready to start, you know, making 70 miles per hour my average, or, you know, you don't want to be, I'm not encouraging you to break laws, but you need to kind of stay at a certain level. You know, once you do the growth phase, and you have the growth spurt, get used to and try on for size, and get used to how comfortable or uncomfortable, if you, like you said, if you do see things breaking at that level, fix it while you're there before trying to move on to the next level, because that's when things could really fall apart as you grow, if you're not really making things sustainable at each level. So yeah, that plateau that you mentioned, I can see why that is really important, so that you can really have that magic of sustainable profitability.
Yes. And if you notice that you're working, 80 hours a week or whatever that is, and that's not your goal, that's a key sign that it's okay. What do we get a pair back? How do we, go back to the core? Because I haven't ever worked with a coach that wanted to work 80 hours a week. I have worked with people who came in, working that, but being able to say, okay, where am I either forcing growth, or where can I give myself space to be at a plateau, to really go inward, to do that work and refine and cut things that aren't, in alignment, which is totally fine. It's like cleaning out your closet. We all get, or at least I do, get clothes in there that I've either kept for too long, or, or not really in style, but it feels so good when you have it. And, everything in here is exactly what I'm wearing. These are the right things for today, versus having it cluttered with a bunch of stuff that maybe someday sort of will come back in style too.
Yeah, totally get it. So thank you so much for sharing that, by the way. That's a sneak peek, guys, into the way that Krista runs her successful business. So I really hope that you gain value from that. So tell us about the high value gift that you've made available for free on the Visibility, Impact, and Profit giveaway.
Yes. Oh, and I'm so excited about it. And I heard your dog in the background, which I love, because I think your dog is excited about the giveaway, which is awesome. Usually my dog will do that and decide to bark at just random times. So I love that. I think it's awesome. But really what we created is we saw so many coaches getting stuck because they were building their business based on maybe 7-figure strategies when they are pre 6 figures, for example, or, trying to build the complicated funnel when they're, at their first 6 figures. And maybe that's something that's more advanced or down the line, or spending their time, when they're first starting on long-term impact activities, when right at first we're building confidence, cash, clients, that's our driver, not those long-term pieces. So what we created is the Simplified to Grow guide, and it really outlines the exact systems, strategies, mindsets, and steps that you need at each of the first 3 levels of your business building journey in your coaching business. So you can really look at and reflect and say, have I done, step 1 thoroughly? What's interesting is when you go through it, you'll say, wow, I'm doing some things at step 3 or level 3, some things at level 1, and some things at level 2. No wonder you're feeling exhausted and splattered, because you're doing all the different things versus the things that line up and make the most sense for your current level of business. And I also like to give the disclaimer, it doesn't mean you have to stay in that first level if that's where you are, or second level forever. But I want you to invite yourself to really think about mastering those skill sets and strategies and systems, so that you do have that plateau built in, and you're not in that constant hyper growth mode, but instead able to build a business with a strong foundation that if you do go on vacation for a month, you can totally do that.
Yeah, we were talking about that, right?
Yes.
In terms of taking time, stepping away from business for, like not your typical, 2 weeks, but like, say 4 weeks at a time, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm really, really happy that you put together the Simplified to Grow guide. Based on what you say, this is a guide that will show you exactly what to do and when to scale your coaching business. And this is a $197 value. I highly recommend that you make a beeline right now on the giveaway. Krista, as one of our main event sponsors, she's going to be at the top of the marketing and sales category. So once you go there, once you sign in for the giveaway, Visibility, Impact, and Profit giveaway.com, then once you go to the gifts page, just look for her category and you'll see her gift at the top. So thank you so much for sharing that. Once you sign up, you'll have access to Krista. Feel free to send her to reply to her initial email and let her know that you came in from the giveaway
Yes.
and you saw us in this discussion, and share some takeaways from this discussion that you got as well. And with that, I'm going to ask you to share one takeaway that you want persons to leave with as we wrap up. I know we shared quite a bit today. What do you want persons to truly take away from this discussion?
I would say thank you for this question. And that one of my core beliefs is that you likely have a number, a goal for your business, a impact goal that you want to create. And a lot of times our inner critic can talk us out of it and say, no, that's too big, that's too lofty. But I really believe that whatever that dream or desire or number or impact is that's on your heart, that it's you're like living your best life is following that and stepping into it and being brave enough to follow those clues, because I don't think any of us have a dream or an impact or a calling that isn't possible for us. So bravely taking those steps and moving forward and having as much fun along the way as possible.
Thank you so much for sharing that golden advice. And I want persons to just hear really quickly about where they can hang out with you on social media. Where is the best place? What's the best place where they can find you? I know you have a Facebook group, a very active, engaging Facebook group. Do you want to share that?
Yes, absolutely. And that's a perfect place. It's called Live Your Potential. And Stephanie, is it best for me to say the link or just mention, or what's the easiest way will they get that once they register?
If it's an easy link to remember, you can share it, or if you just want to say, possibly you can search for Live Your Potential on Facebook and you'll certainly find it there.
That's probably the easiest way versus me telling you probably all names and numbers and stuff. But yes, it's Live Your Potential, and it's a Facebook group, and you'll see lots of amazing coaches in there creating, their impact and their dream business together.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm in that group. Really good place to be. So I encourage you to join as well. Thank you again for being one of our main event sponsors that helped to make this event possible. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you for all that you shared on this discussion today. I hope that as you are listening, that you got great value. And I thank you so much for tuning in. Remember that the giveaway is totally free from September 19th to the 30th. Go ahead and sign up now if you haven't done so already, and take advantage of all the resources that are offered. Some of these resources are high value and could be paid resources, and they are for free right now in this 2-week window through this event. So thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next interview. Bye.